Hello and welcome to the midweek edition of Sunday League to Legend. This is Football Manager 2021, as well you should know by now, and we are indeed on YouTube. Today's episode doesn't contain a fixture, it actually a bit of an update, because it's been quite a while since the start of the season. We're now on the 2nd of January 2028, so we've come quite a way. Our last game was broadcast in the FA Cup, which was against Boreham Wood, which we progressed from, and we continued into the next round. Our next game is against MK Dons, as you can see, away at Stadium MK. Our most recent fixture was supposed to be against Bristol, I think, which was postponed due to a waterlogged pitch at the Leyland Albion Stadium. You would think that building a brand new stadium would stop that sort of thing. It did not, let me tell you. That's the second game this season that has been postponed due to that. We are in Lancashire, and it is going to happen. But the reason we've stopped the game here at the 2nd of January is because there are things happening, good things in terms of new players. We've actually signed a couple in the transfer window, which has just opened. We head over into our transfers, the history. We have sent out a few on loan since the start of the season. So the likes of Callum Bailey is over at Dover. Dave Courtney, AFC Telford. Tate Campbell has gone off to Chesterfield for a couple of grand. And then we had Phil Ansell, Rossi Morford, and a youth player Roger Green out on loan in November. That's just freed up a bit of space in the squad and allowed us to sign the likes of Brendan Riley. Let's have a look at him. He was a free transfer from Dundalk in Ireland. That was a former club of Jim Gannon, ex-Stockport County manager. He has some good stats, technique, passing, teamwork, all really positive. Just 21 years old, Irishman, capped at under 19 level. I think he's going to be a big player for us. Potential to be a Sky Bet League 2 player in the future, according to the reports. However, I think we can develop him a little bit better than that. He will probably back up our central attacking midfield role and the strikers as well. Rhys McPhee has come in from Lincoln. Now, he's already been listed for loan. He's 22, but I think he needs a bit of football, and I'm not sure that we're the team that can give him just at the end of this season. Another attacking midfielder, but can play on the left as well, which may come in useful. The problem we've got there is that Lee Jones is our left winger, and he's our top scorer. He's doing really well for us, as is the Koala over on the right wing. Amazing couple of months from those two lads. They're both well over 10 goals, I believe, for the season, which is pretty impressive. But Rhys McPhee, formerly of Lincoln, spent some time with Hyde, who of course are one of our affiliate clubs, so we're all fully aware of him. 129 appearances to his name. Is quite young, so I think a pretty astute signing, probably for next season for him. Somebody for this season is going to be Jake Delve. So he's come in on loan from Burnley, and you'll see he is a striker, can play also on the right, but it looks more comfortable up top. Essentially, he is John John's replacement. John signed for us from Stoke this season. We had him on loan last year, and unfortunately, he's injured. Another 3 months, I think, before we'll see the best of him. So we've taken Delve on loan from a fellow Lancashire side, also play, of course, in Claret and Blue. It meant that I had Sean Dyche on the phone. No, Sean Dyche doesn't still manage Burnley. He's a former England manager in Sunday League to Legend, is Sean Dyche. Again, stats are pretty good. He's probably somebody that can improve. Potential to be a League One player in future. And I've got the feeling that we could be the team to help him get there. In terms of strikers, you'll see him. He's third on our list. Behind Wilfred Zaha, another loan signing, and in Marshall Mockup, and then Delve in third place there. I think he's a really good player, somebody to look out for. The big signing that I've spent more money than I have ever spent before in Sunday League to Legend is this lad, Zimbabwean, one international cap already to his name, Marshall McCopp. He looks a pretty solid player already, and something that's only going to get better. Just 20 years old, and can play on the left, can play on the right, through the middle. Not sure where he's going to play, to be honest, but we've got to get him on the pitch. In terms of his contract, it does have a release clause of 3.8 million, which just goes to show you that that's what they're expecting for him later on in his career. Previously with Reading, didn't make an appearance for them at all, restricted just to non-competitive games, reserve fixtures for the last few seasons. As you can see, he's been amassing them since the year 2023. We've got him on a good deal, I think, £1,000 a week. It's not a massive amount for us. I think he could do a pretty solid job, and we can play our part in developing. Another player that we brought on loan is Abdul Kamara. So he is a right back primarily. Can also play in the centre. 19 years old, from Sierra Leone, 8 international caps already. Some decent stats, not entirely brilliant. The reason he's come in is because Koulibaly, our right back on loan from Tottenham, is injured for another 4-5 months. As a result, we've had to look elsewhere. So we've brought this lad in from Everton. Not paying him a great amount, has to be said. His contract does expire with Everton at the end of the season, so he may be somebody that we can just sign, maybe. Not very much. We're only paying him £110 per week. That's change, really, isn't it? And those 5 players have really been brought in to bolster our chances of promotion, because, as it turns out, we're in with a shot. There are other players, I should say, that have come in during the season. Wilfred Zaha's obviously the big one. He's probably going to retire at the end of this season, although the arrows are all pretty much up. His stats are still good. We're playing him up top as a striker. He's got 9 goals for us in 21 appearances, 6 assists as well. So it's got 15 goal involvements. He is getting a massive wage of £5,000 a week, which we can barely afford, to be honest. But as you can see, Ivory Coast international with 64 caps to his name. Left England, from what I remember. Yes, he was at Leicester from Palace at 43 million. And then 4 years later went to Rangers for 8.25 million. In terms of his trophies, he won the African Cup of Nations twice. And indeed suffered relegation with Crystal Palace. But nothing by Rangers. No trophies there. Interesting. Be that as it may, Wilfred is up front for us. The other player that I really like is Lewis Wing. We signed him as a bit of a utility player, 32 years old. We don't have a lot of players of his experience, so it's always good to get a couple in. We've got him, and we've got Phillips is the other one in central midfield. His stats, I thought, were pretty decent right across the board. Really consistent player. Didn't sign for a fee. It was a free transfer from Millwall, also in League One. So it's always good just to be getting in players that have the experience of the league that you're competing in. I think he's somebody that's really settled and really done well. Interestingly, his average ratings are not brilliant. He's actually one of the poorest in the first team squad. If we have a look at that, in terms of average rating, he features down here in the bottom half. And just go show you, in fact, if we eliminate the players that haven't played for us, we can see that he's right down there in the bottom 10. And there's all these guys that have been playing better than him throughout the season. And that includes the likes of Connor Comer, only made a few appearances. Don McBride has been starting most games, but has come off the bench as well. So it's interesting to see that while his play on the pitch is really good, 3 goals, 2 assists, it's just not translating into average rating. Does happen sometimes, mainly with goalkeepers, to be honest, in Football Manager. Tends to be that they don't get the credit that they deserve. Although I have to say, in the top 6, we've got 2 goalkeepers. Tommy Jackson, who's our backup keeper, has made 13 appearances though. It's not too shabby, is it, for a backup goalkeeper? And Oliver Bosworth, he's our number 1, 23 appearances to his name. Although, you know, the likes of Remy Savage are on that list as well. Doesn't always get a game. In fact, he's probably going to leave at the end of this season. Is wanted by Matlock, Kurtzen Ashton and Warrington. And that's a trio to draw to, isn't it? In terms of the league table, things have gone really well for us. We've got a game in hand over both QPR and Rotherham immediately above us. And our goal difference is really similar, the same in fact, to Rotherham. But we are 4th in Sky Bet League 1. Expected to fight bravely against relegation. We're probably a point away from being safe, to be honest, with 55 points, you would have thought. Everybody pretty much has played 27, 28, 29 games, and we're up there. We've got a 4-point cushion to MK Dons, which doesn't sound a lot, but we do have that game in hand, which could be something. We have lost the joint least games in the league, so ourselves and Sunderland have only lost 4 games. Wigan at the top have lost 5. Down at the bottom of the table, unfortunately for Lancashire fans, Preston North End 21st, 2 points shy, but with a game in hand on Coventry City, so you'd hope that they could do some business there. Swindon, Newport and Carlisle. I mean, Carlisle are just cut adrift, aren't they? 12 points from safety. Not looking good for United there. However, I think we're in with a shot of automatic promotion. If we can keep our run going, and we are on a bit of a run in a minute, as you'll see in a minute, if we can keep above the likes of Sunderland and Millwall, we can kind of fend them off. MK Dons are going to be that's a big game for us coming up. And then Morecambe in 8th, you know, local rivals, they're going to want to get over on us. In terms of the player stats, we don't have anybody with the most goals in the league. But in terms of average rating, we've got the Koala on there, 3rd place, and he leads the league in assists along with Corbett from Morecambe. So all looking really positive for us in terms of the league. Wigan are top by 4 points, but then we've got QPR, Rotherham on 55, ourselves 54. So all to play for, really. In terms of the schedule, things did not go well at the start of the season. We were losing too many games. Rotherham, Bristol Rovers, Lincoln. It all kind of accumulated, added up. Draws with Millwall and Sunderland weren't brilliant. Both of those games at home as well, disappointing. But then we had a bit of a turnaround. We won 3 games in the trot, on the trot against Blackpool, Preston and Southend. I think that was a really important run for us. And when we lost to Oldham, 3-2, it actually sparked the start of a really positive stint for us. In fact, we haven't lost a game since that one against Oldham back in October. We've done really well. It's been a few draws smattered in there. Yeah, nothing to worry about too much. We did pick up a win over Crewe in the Papa John's Trophy, which was awful for us. But there's that game against Boreham Wood, where we won just 1-0 late on from Conor Comer, the greatest of all time. Had a couple of draws since then, Morecambe, Rotherham and Millwall. And then most recently, we defeated Scarborough Athletic in the FA Cup 2nd round. So, as you can see, there's a lot to be upbeat about. There's a lot to think that we can maybe just challenge for promotion in this second half of the season. There are some big games, but I like the way that our fixtures come about. We've got big away trips to Preston and Sunderland. If we can avoid defeat in those, we've then got Bristol Rovers, Blackpool and Oldham Athletic at home. That's 3 home games in succession. And imagine getting 9 points there. That'd really just push us, I think, towards the upper echelons of the league. And then the last day we've got Swindon at home. I mean, that's got to be 3 points for us, hasn't it? That's what we'll be looking for. Certainly there. It has been a really good run for us, and something that we've obviously bought these new players in, spent a little bit more than I would hope for, certainly with McCopp, but we've got to go for it. If we were down sort of just above the relegation, even mired in mid-table, I wouldn't have brought in any new players. But I think we can just push on, and we've brought in better players than we have at the club, just to give us that tactical flexibility. especially in the attacking midfield role. So of our two formations that we're using this season, this is our home formation, and basically it's a 4-3-3 with an inverted winger on one side and an inside forward on the other. Don't worry about the personnel too much because we've just played Scarborough and this is pretty much our second string. But this is how we kind of line up at home. When we're away, we go a little bit more on the front foot. As you can see, we've got this attacking midfielder in the centre there. We don't have brilliant options. Barrington certainly isn't one of those, but the likes of Wing and Drinkwater can play there, but that opens up positions further back for them. Opens up for the likes of Sam Deacon, Harry Manton to come in. They've all done pretty well for us, but I think I want to give him a go in this role. Drinkwater, I probably prefer him just a bit in behind. He has really come on in leaps and bounds though. He's certainly one player to have a look at because I think he will go on to be a Premier League player. One of the few at the club, really, in the grand scheme of things. His stats are coming on a treat. Everything he needs in his position seems to be on the up. So they're all sort of 12 and above, really. Except for, I think there's work rate, anticipation, composure, but the likes of determination up there with 14, passing, his first touch is 13, balance of 16. He is wanted by the likes of Luton and Middlesbrough. As a result, his price has been bumped up to 250,000. I'm not against putting that up to $1 million either, just to ward them off. Didn't always get in the team at the start of the season, has to be said. But he's somebody that has really made a statement. 5 goals to his name, 4 assists this season as well, and they've been spread out throughout the league and the cup competitions. Big player for us. Signed for 36k from Leyland Albion. Not another player who's not on a big contract. Again, 75 quid a week, and he's got another year left on his contract. Big player, I think, for the future. Has a tendency to kick off a little bit if he's not in the team, but I'm good with him. I think he's a really good player for us. One player that I'm surprised that's done so well is Tommy O'Reilly. I don't think his stats are brilliant, but every time he comes on the pitch, he makes something happen. It's not always getting an assist or a goal, but he just gets us up the field, and it's sort of like an American football principle where he gets us up there and does really well for the team. Lots of substitute appearances this season. So he started 10 games and he's come on as a substitute in 11. But I think he's somebody that we can really rely on. 24 years old now, so he should have a bit of nous about him. The Koala, another player whose stats aren't great. They don't scream fantastic player, but he scored 12 goals this season from the wing. Another player who's 24 years old, Northern Irish. In terms of signing, came on a free transfer from Southend. He'd been out on loan the previous season. And the other one on the left is Lee Jones. He must have scored 10 goals for us. Welshman, so we do have quite a British flavour of the different nationalities. 22 years old, capped at under 20 level. He was another snip at 32k over from Barry in Wales. And you can see there already 206 appearances under his belt, 57 goals and 109 assists. So certainly a player that's making his mark on the left wing. In terms of the scouts, yeah, potential to be a good League One player in the future. If I can get those players, I'm quite happy. I seem to be getting, again, from our scouts, players that are good Vanarama North and South players. It's just not where we're at anymore. We can't be carrying these players. It's just not going to work. So I just ignore them out of hand and just look for the ones that could be future Championship players, future Premier League players. Those are the type that we want to bring to the club and will make us a bit of cash from their sales as well, because we've not done brilliant with selling players. Just before we go, something that I nearly forgot. Let's have a look at the FA Cup third round draw. We don't do enough of these on this channel. However, there are quite a lot of teams. So let's hope that Leyland Albion are drawn out pretty early. I mean, away at Arsenal will be good. Well done, Reading. A bit of a tie there for you. Peterborough, League 2, play Charlton. Brentford at home against Huddersfield, 2 Championship sides. Premier League, Leicester City host Cambridge. That's a bit of a slam dunk for them. And you would have thought, same for Nottingham Forest against Bristol City. Liverpool are at home against Brighton, former Premier League opposition there. West Ham have Coventry. Middlesbrough in the Championship against Cheltenham of the Vanarama National League. I should say Dartford, second team out. Vanarama National South. We've got Rotherham and Barnsley, Stockport and MK Dons. Portsmouth play Southampton. Bristol Rovers are at home against Sheffield United. Accrington, they play Fulham. QPR at home, League 1 opposition against Manchester City. That's a big tie for them. Leeds United take on Sheffield Wednesday at Ellen Road. We've got Colchester against Newport County. Everton at home against Oxford of the Championship. They've got a bit of a meteoric rise. Wolves are at home against Leyland Albion. There you have it. We have drawn Wolves, Premier League side. And in fact, shall we just get on with the draw? Get rid of all the other teams. Let's have a look at Wolves. Their history. I'm guessing they haven't been out of the Premier League since the start of this save. Oh no, they did. They were relegated in 2021-22. Bounced straight back up from the Championship in second place. And generally, they've been pretty awful, haven't they? 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th when they got relegated. I mean, they only just about saved themselves from a straight trip back to the Championship, finishing 17th. Who has their manager been over the past few years? Wow, Eddie Newton has been stepping in quite a few times. Give him the job. Sergen Yalcin, current manager. I've not heard of him. Is that bad? Probably not. They did have Simone Inzaghi, though. Inzaghi. And indeed, Wayne Rooney was there for 123 days, following the sacking of Nuno Espirito Santo. Wonder where you are now, my friend. Let's have a quick look at you. Unemployed? Where were you at? He was hired as Burnley manager, but was sacked 2 years later. That's interesting. What's happened to Rooney then? Rooney's with Manchester United under 18s. I mean, that's not really brilliant, is it? Yeah, he was released on a free transfer by Derby. Wolves brought him in as an under 18s coach. Wow, he has not gone on to many the heights that perhaps people expected. Inzaghi, after Wolves went to Derby, finished 19th, got them relegated, and he was sacked as well. Wow, that just goes to show. In fact, where was Yeltsin at the start? So at the start of this save, he was with Besiktas. He was a player. Right, okay. And then he left. Oh no, he was manager. Right, okay, so he was manager of Besiktas. I'm with you. And then he was hired as Wolves manager last year. Interesting. There you have it. So the Albion will travel to Molineux with a rearranged fixture against Newport County to come. There we have it. And it will be the third round of the FA Cup. So that's certainly something to look forward to. I'll see you on Monday.